There's a ton of Marvel projects coming out over the next few years on the big screen, but fans are always thinking beyond the foreseeable future. There are a ton of projects that currently aren't in development that fans would love to see on the big screen. From heroes to villains, we have something you'll want to see at cinemas at some point. Before we count them down though, be sure to subscribe to our channel to get all the latest and greatest from CBR every day.
Okay, don't freak out. My name is Miles Morales, and I'm Spider-Man.
Miles Morales. It's no secret that Spider-Man Homecoming was a certified hit, winning over critics and fans alike. After the polarizing experience that was the Andrew Garfield films, fans were happy to see a Spidey film that hit all the right notes, despite Garfield being a great Parker. But even though Tom Holland's web slinger was an instant hit in Homecoming and Civil War, many fans are more than a little tired of seeing Peter Parker on the big screen for the third time in just over a decade. That's why many hope to see a live-action version of Miles Morales tangle with Peter Parker on the big screen. We know Lord and Miller are helping create an animated version of Miles Morales' story that will hit the big screen in 2018, and we're super hyped for that one. But creating a film where two different Spider-Men can take up a bold new threat that requires teamwork and reflection on self would be quite the show. Morales and Parker, despite their similar powers, are two very different people, and seeing how both would tackle a situation on the fly might lead to some friction, but also some great moments between two iconic characters.
The Avengers. That's what we call ourselves. Sort of like a team. Earth's mightiest heroes type thing.
Avengers vs. X-Men. In a perfect world, the X-Men universe can blend seamlessly with the MCU. Sadly, today is not that day, so chances of seeing Deadpool interact with the Avengers, or his main pal Spider-Man, seems to be slim to none. While we'll likely never see that crossover happen thanks to each property having a home at competing studios, one can hope we'll one day get a theatrical run of the Avengers vs. X-Men. In the comic book, the Phoenix Force ends up returning to Earth and causes a divide between the two supergroups over what's to be done about the invaders. Wasting no time, the Phoenix Force takes hold of Hope Summers, who is taken on as their new host. The X-Men see this as an opportunity, as the Phoenix Force will usher in a rebirth of the mutants, while the Avengers believe they'll ultimately lead to the destruction of Earth. Cue an intense war between former allies. While a live-action film is probably out of the question thanks to studio rights and a huge cast, there's still the possibility that an animated film version of this event could eventually come to light. Would you be up to seeing this crossover become an animated feature, or would a live-action adaptation be the only way to go if it were possible?
I will find him, and nothing will stand in my way.
Blade in the MCU. One of the first Marvel films to get it right, Blade was full of edge, style, and great vampire moments that made it a bold comic book film before X-Men came around and made them cool. Blade was an R-rated gothic trip, full of swearing, violence, and Wesley Snipes owning the role. But after the misfire that was the third film, Snipes seemingly retired from the character. There was an attempt to make the character a hit TV series, but that didn't take off as planned. Now, Snipes is seemingly down to return to the role he helped make his own, telling fans that the ball is in Kevin Feige's hands right now. So it seems like Snipes is quite keen on returning to the role, and to be honest, we wouldn't want anyone else to play the Daywalker. But where would Blade go? Odds are there will never be an R-rated theatrical MCU film, and the future of Marvel shows are in question right now as Disney prepares to launch their own streaming service in 2019. But if there's a place for Blade, it'll be next to The Defenders and The Punisher Online. Dr. Aphra. Fans usually associate Marvel with its superheroes, the likes of Avengers, X-Men, and other spectacular beings. But Marvel doesn't just publish superhero comics. In fact, over the past couple of years, they've been publishing the new Star Wars comics, of which there are many now. Some of these characters only exist in the comic book world so far. With Lucasfilm working hard on creating anthology spin-off films in the future, it's not impossible to think that a character like Dr. Aphra would eventually make the leap to the big screen, either as a lead or supporting character. Aphra is an archaeologist who clearly inspired in part by Indiana Jones, only she's definitely no hero. A one-time associate of Darth Vader, she travels the galaxy looking for rare artifacts with the help of her two assassin droids and a dark-haired Wookiee. She has debts to pay and an empire on her tail, and the set would make for a great cinematic experience. We've yet to see a comic book character in Star Wars make it to the big screen, so why not let Dr. Aphra have an adventure in the live-action film? Moon Knight. One of the more obscure characters on this list, but with a die-hard group of fans, Moon Knight would be an awesome and unique project for any one of the Marvel studios to tackle in the future. Unlike most of the characters on this list, Moon Knight has no direct connections to any pre-existing material on the big screen. This makes making a Moon Knight film both risky and potentially rewarding, as fans crave something new while simultaneously are cautious cautious about material they're unfamiliar with. The premise for Moon Knight is quite unique and would be fascinating to see unravel on the big screen. Mark Spector, the man behind the mask, assumes multiple identities to help him carry out his crime-fighting missions. When not donning the mask, he acts as both a financier and a cab driver, gaining various levels of information on the criminal underworld. But juggling 4 different personalities causes Spector a great deal of stress managing them all. The comic book takes on a unique art style as well that would translate well to film should the producers allow Moon Knight to be an unconventional superhero film. Appearing black and white against colored backgrounds and characters in the comic books, Moon Knight's unique style would set it apart from any other superhero film made so far. Captain Britain. Comic book and movie fans are no doubt well acquainted with Captain America at this point. Key member of the Avengers and lead character in 3 well-received solo films, Cap has definitely had quite the time in the limelight over the past few years. But Captain America is not the only one in Marvel's roster. Captain Britain first appeared in issue number 1 of his own series back in 1976, yet despite his age, he never quite took off the same way Captain America did. But Guardians of the Galaxy were a rather obscure name until the MCU made a film about them, so why not have another Captain enter the fray once Phase 4 gets started? For the sake of keeping things fun and relative, Captain Britain could always team up with Guardian, a Canadian superhero who's made run-ins with Wolverine and wanted to make a Fantastic Four for the Great White North. Who says Canada can't be super too? Having Britain and Guardian team up together in what may very well be a post-Captain America reality will be an interesting and unexpected way to fill the void of such a lovable character, should he go down during Infinity War. If not, the 3 joining together on an international partnership would also be interesting. Silver Surfer and Fantastic Four done right. It seems that the Fantastic Four can't catch a break on the big screen. Sure, the 2004 version was good for its time, but its sequel fared much worse, which is a shame because the iconic Silver Surfer was the film's main antagonist. Unfortunately, the film left a lot to be desired. The film sits at a miserable 37% on the tomato meter, which is still a lot better than the 2015 reboot film. If Fantastic Four can find its own voice and give us a cinematic version of the Silver Surfer worthy of our time and money, fans will rejoice. In order to do that, we not only need a memorable and iconic surfer, but we need to see a great Fantastic Four. The cast currently playing them are some seriously talented actors, and once they get the chance to show off their potential in one of these movies, we're sure things will finally click and we'll get the Fantastic Four film we've been waiting for. Silver Surfer is one of the most iconic superhero villains of all time, and also one of the strongest. We, the audience, should be in awe of his power and worried that our heroes might not make it out alive. While this is going on, we should understand why Silver Surfer does the things he does. Make it happen, Fox. We believe in you. House of M. The X-Men films have been a huge property ever since the first film came out in 2000. Ever since then, we've had sequels, prequels, and spin-offs added to the series, but there's still one major comic book arc that hasn't made the jump to the big screen. So as to how this will actually unfold on the big screen remains a bit cloudy at the moment, as Scarlet Witch, the central character in the comic, is currently kicking butt in the MCU, while her father, Magneto, is at home over at Fox. In Days of Futures Past, it's revealed that Quicksilver is indeed Magneto's son, yet we got a Quicksilver in Age of Ultron. Perhaps a House of M film could find a home at Fox? In the comic book, Scarlet Witch finds herself one of the most powerful and unstable mutants around. This causes many mutants to debate and eventually clash over whether she should be allowed to live or not. As this goes on, Scarlet Witch retreats into her mind and creates a peaceful secondary reality. But the two cannot coexist peacefully. Seeing this heavy and possibly visually stunning narrative unfold on the big screen would be quite the treat, especially with Fox taking the big risks with their Marvel properties as of late. Kraven's Last Hunt. Perhaps one of Spider-Man's most iconic and memorable storylines. How awesome would it be to have Kraven's Last Hunt depicted on the big screen? It's not often we get to see the villains win on the big screen in superhero films. Bane had the upper hand for most of The Dark Knight Rises, but that aside, it's rare to see a film that breaks our heroes for so long. In that regard, having Kraven's Last Hunt become a theatrical film would not only be refreshing, but bold and exciting. What makes this arc so interesting is that Kraven seemingly kills off Spider-Man early on in the series, breaking the mold and altering the playing field in the process. Of course, Spider-Man isn't really dead, but he came back as a changed man. The black suit plays an important role in the narrative, but despite the fact that this is a Spider-Man story, this is straight up Kraven's arc. Kraven simply wants to be a better hero than Spider-Man, and that competition can turn things up a few notches and ultimately ends with Peter Parker's ego being shattered. It would be a great character study to see on the big screen, especially since Tom Holland's Spider-Man is so on top of the world these days. Venom and Carnage. Fans are extremely excited to see what Tom Hardy will bring to the table with his interpretation of Venom in his own solo film due October 2018. The film is expected to be an R-rated film and take inspiration from the horror genre, which sounds bonkers to us, but with Venom serving as an anti-hero, who will be the villain in this plot? There would be plenty of options. Fans all around the world will definitely be hoping Carnage makes an appearance of some kind, preferably the main film antagonist. While these two symbiotic beings may look a bit similar, they couldn't be further apart. Carnage, also known as Cletus Cassidy, is a terrifying and murderous psychopath. Eddie Brock, on the other hand, the man under the Venom suit, actually sees himself as a hero from time to time, and like Peter Parker, works at the Daily Bugle. These two extreme contrasts in personality going against how similar these two beings appear would make for some great character moments, as Venom can ponder his place in the world as he faces a more monstrous version of himself. Do you think Venom should face off against Carnage in his first solo film? Let us know in the comments. That's it for now, everyone. Which Marvel project would you like to see the most? Whatever you think though, let us know in the comments, and be sure to give us a like and subscribe for more awesome content from CBR added to your playlist. Thanks for watching.